Hello, General.
Ass.
I need confirmation that there's an agreement among the races. Please reply confirmed. I'm counting on you. Commander Setkar watched silently from the screen of his datapad. His face, impassive, reflected the same indifference he had seen in countless species. Another battle where humans would be annihilated. Another proof of their ineptitude compared to the more advanced races. The mission, like all the others, was merely a formality. Another verification for the Galactic Observer's report. He had traveled across the stars for centuries, evaluating species, and could not help but feel a deep disdain for humanity. Their methods were simple and primitive, a constant disappointment. Every report contained the same observations. Humans fighting in disorganized ways, without meaningful tactics, without the discipline of other races. And yet they always managed to survive. The same dumb luck that had saved their tiny planets from being devoured by more powerful empires was a kind of naive, a ridiculously confident ability to adapt and endure. Humans had nothing that made them stand out among the civilizations he had observed. No technology, no art, no societal purity. Yet every time they faced a new threat, they clung to life, doing the unexpected, not a skill, but an inexplicable stubbornness. This time, he did not expect it to be different. He was in the observation room, eyes fixed on the unfolding spectacle. The battlefield on a frontier planet was full of chaos. A small group of humans fought against a far more advanced alien race. The invaders' technological superiority was obvious, as their energy weapons tearing through the ground, while the humans could barely respond with their rudimentary arms. The humans seemed, as always, disorganized, overwhelmed by alien superiority. Bodies fell, and yet the survivors kept fighting. Setkar frowned. Why? What drove them to cling so desperately to life? Even if doomed, could he ever understand the nature of this species? How could they survive where so many others had fallen? Humanity had never shown true power, neither in battle nor in organization. Yet despite their apparent weaknesses, they could not be destroyed. That alone was rare. Then it happened. A scream cut through the air, and from the ruins a human figure emerged. At first, insignificant, barely a shadow amid the debris. As he moved, Setkar felt a flash of something different. In the chaos of battle, an apparently normal man began gathering others. No strategy, no clear orders, but he had something the others, despite their capabilities and organization, did not. Determination. Not just courage, but something primal, visceral, radiating from his being for no apparent reason. His companions followed him, perhaps without understanding why, but with unshakable faith that somehow this man could achieve the impossible. Setkar felt an unusual discomfort. What was happening? Is this the typical human hope? That spark of resilience aliens always viewed with skepticism? That irrational belief that the impossible could be achieved just by believing in it? A farce, he thought. And yet something inside him began to stir, as if history itself was about to turn in an unpredictable way. The man raised a simple hand signal, and in that moment Setkar realized something he had never considered. Humans, unlike any other species he had observed, never gave up. No matter how often they were defeated, they returned. Could it be that this battle would be different, that humans could actually turn the tide? The man wasn't a general, nor a recognized leader, or no shining armor, bore no symbols of an advanced culture. He was one of those common soldiers Setkar had seen and dismissed countless times. Yet on his face was something overflowing, more than determination. A pure will, an unrelenting fire defying all logic. Setkar watched as the man moved swiftly, guiding his comrades. Somehow he had managed to reorganize the survivors and began giving orders. His words were not sophisticated, but they carried an intensity, each phrase filled with the hope of an impossible future. Humans, Setkar thought, were strange. They never gave up. The battle reached its critical point. The alien forces, previously feeling invincible, began to falter. But what surprised Setkar most wasn't the human advance, but the way the soldiers adapted. What had seemed chaotic disorganization now transformed into improvised strategies, something only humans, with their unique creativity, could conceive. An alien projectile veered toward one of the human soldiers, who simply dodged it with an agility that did not seem natural for such a clumsy being. Not skill instinct. Setkar frowned. Human intelligence was undeniable, but this agility and adaptability were what perplexed him most. How could such a seemingly fragile species react with such precision under pressure? At that moment, a high-ranking alien commander approached Setkar. "Commander Setkar, do you think this is just another battle? Do you believe these humans will bend as easily as the others?" Setkar did not respond immediately. The aliens also saw humans as inferior, a species with value no greater than their outdated weapons and lack of military culture. But what he now witnessed defied all assumptions about humanity. They weren't weak. He thought of humanity's history always fighting against the odds, ancient wars forging an almost legendary resilience. These imperfect humans rose again and again, when they seemed to fall, only to be reborn. Meanwhile, humans began coordinating more effectively. Setkar realized something else. They were not just fighting to survive, they were fighting for their home, for their future. Something no advanced race he had observed had understood. The emotional bond to survival was not instinct alone, but feeling a deep need to protect what they loved, what they knew. That was a principle alien races could not comprehend. Humans were not just warriors, they were protectors. And at the heart of that fight was something greater than any weapon or advanced technology. As the tide of battle began to turn, Setkar felt something close to fear, not of immediate defeat, but of the unknown. How could he have underestimated humans so completely? He had assumed they were simple prey, but now he saw what was happening. They were not victims, nor even merely survivors. Humans were warriors. The battlefield shook with explosions and fire. Humans, though outnumbered and outgunned, pressed forward. The alien forces began to hesitate. Confusion spread among them, something they had never encountered before. Species that refused to yield. A species that kept coming, despite logic and probability dictating otherwise. The human leader, a man named Jonas, moved among his comrades. He was not a general, not someone with formal authority, but his presence inspired everyone. Soldiers who had been on the verge of retreat now held their ground. A young boy, barely old enough to hold a weapon, stood beside him, gripping his rifle with trembling hands, but determined eyes. Jonas placed a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder. "Stay with me," he said, voice firm but calm. "We're not done yet, not today." Those words, simple and human, carried more weight than any strategy or plan. The humans followed, moving in ways that seemed random, but had a strange effectiveness. The aliens could not anticipate it. Every time they thought they had an advantage, the humans adapted. Setkar watched from the observation room. His datapad, once filled with reports of predictable failure, now displayed something impossible. Humans were gaining ground. "How?" he muttered. "How are they doing this?" The aliens' leader, arrogant and seasoned in countless wars, turned to him. "They are lucky," he said confidently. "Luck and desperation, that is all." Setkar shook his head. No, this was something more. Luck could not explain the precision, the timing, the unwavering courage. Humans had something no other species had, an unbreakable will. Jonas led a charge through the alien lines. Bullets and energy blasts tore through the air, yet he pressed forward. His soldiers followed, covering each other, using terrain and instinct in ways Setkar had never analyzed. The human ability to improvise, to create order from chaos, was astonishing. A massive alien war machine appeared, its weapons capable of destroying an entire block of human soldiers in a single shot. Panic would have struck any normal army, but not these humans. Jonas shouted orders. He scattered, used the debris, and attacked weak points in the machine. Within minutes, the enormous vehicle was disabled. Setkar felt a chill. Every human victory, no matter how small, seemed to grow exponentially. Their creativity, courage, and determination amplified each other. Among the chaos, a young girl named Emily spotted a wounded comrade trapped under debris. Without hesitation, she ran forward. A laser beam grazed past her, but she reached him, pulled him free, and dragged him to safety. Others followed her example, acts of bravery multiplying across the battlefield. It was not only strategy or skill, it was care, loyalty, and a deep desire to protect one another. That emotional drive made them unpredictable. No simulation, no advanced calculation could have predicted their next move. Setkar realized the truth. Humans fought not because of tactics, but because of something aliens could not understand. They fought for each other, for their planet, and for their future. The alien commander beside him frowned. "They are still weak," he insisted. "They cannot withstand our forces. Eventually, they will fall." Setkar's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps," he said quietly. "But strength is not always measured in weapons or numbers. It is measured in will. And these humans. Their will is unlike anything I have ever seen." Jonas raised his voice, rallying his troops. "Forward. For each other. For home. We do not give up." The humans surged ahead, pressing the alien forces back, step by step. Setkar leaned closer to his datapad. He did not just see a battle being fought, he saw a revelation. Humans, the species he had always dismissed, had shown something no other species could. They could turn hopelessness into victory, weakness into strength, and chaos into triumph. In that moment, Setkar understood what he had always refused to admit. Humans were not the weakest. They were something far more dangerous. They were unstoppable. The humans pressed forward, inch by inch, through the alien stronghold. Smoke and fire filled the air, burning eyes and choking lungs, yet they did not stop. Each step was hard-won, each advance paid in sweat and blood, but still they moved. Jonas led from the front, his rifle steady, eyes scanning for threats. Around him, soldiers ducked behind debris, firing when possible, retreating when necessary. Every move seemed chaotic, yet it worked. The aliens could not predict their next action. A massive alien turret opened fire, cutting down part of the human line. Chaos erupted. Soldiers screamed and dove for cover. Jonas spotted the gunner, a creature twice the size of a man, armored in black plating. He sprinted forward, bullets bouncing off the machine. Reaching the turret, he threw a grenade inside. There was a deafening explosion, and the turret went silent. The soldiers around him cheered. It was a small victory, but victories were like sparks in a night of darkness. Each one gave them hope. Nearby, a young woman named Claire spotted a group of aliens preparing to flank them. She grabbed a comlink and shouted orders to a squad hidden nearby. Using rocks, broken walls, and careful timing, they trapped the aliens in a narrow passage. The aliens panicked, retreating as humans pressed the advantage. Setkar watched everything on his screens. Each human move surprised him more than the last. Their unpredictability, their refusal to surrender, defied all his calculations. He had studied thousands of species in his lifetime, and none had shown such a combination of courage, intelligence, and loyalty. "This is impossible," he muttered. "They should have lost already." The alien commander glared at him. "Then destroy them. They are still weaker than us. One final strike, and it ends." But the humans were not waiting. Jonas had spotted the command center ahead, the source of the aliens' coordination. If they could take it, the aliens would falter. He gathered a small team, his closest friends, and soldiers, and moved quickly, using tunnels and shadows to avoid detection. Emily, the young girl who had saved her comrade earlier, ran alongside Jonas. "We can do this," she said, determination in her voice. "We have to." They reached the command center. Alien guards were posted, but the humans attacked with precision, each strike carefully aimed. In minutes, the main door was breached. Jonas kicked it open, and chaos erupted inside. Setkar watched in disbelief. The humans moved not as individuals, but as a single unit, instinctively covering each other, anticipating danger before it appeared. The command center's systems were quickly destroyed. Alien communications went silent. "Impossible," the alien commander shouted. "How can they do this?" Setkar leaned forward. He finally understood. It was not just their courage, it was their connection to one another. Their desire to protect each other, to fight for their home, created a strength no weapon could measure. Outside, the remaining alien forces faltered. Without coordination, they became vulnerable. Jonas' team emerged from the command center, victorious. He raised his hand, signaling the other humans to advance. Slowly, the tide of battle shifted. Every step the humans took, every life they saved, weakened the alien forces. The aliens began to retreat, confusion replacing their earlier arrogance. Setkar could not believe it. Humans were driving them back. Jonas turned to his soldiers. "Keep moving," he shouted. "Push them back. Protect each other. Do not stop until it's over. And they did. Even as exhaustion set in, the humans kept advancing, relentless in their determination. No weapon, no alien strategy could break them. Each human acted with courage and care, inspiring the others. The aliens were beginning to understand the truth. Humans were not predictable. They could not be calculated, defeated, or broken by fear. Setkar leaned back from his screens, his mind racing. For the first time, he admitted it not in words, not to others, but to himself. Humans were dangerous. Not because they were powerful, but because they refused to surrender, refused to give up, refused to be controlled. And in that moment, the outcome of the battle no longer seemed like a possibility, seemed inevitable. The humans pushed forward, their energy tired, but their will unbroken. Smoke filled the skies, and the ground shook with explosions, yet they moved like a single unit. Every step was careful, every action calculated, yet fearless. Jonas led the charge, rifle ready, eyes sharp. Behind him, Claire and a few soldiers followed, covering every angle. The aliens had lost coordination, but they still fought fiercely. Each remaining alien seemed more desperate, more dangerous. A sudden blast knocked several humans off their feet. Jonas rolled and saw a massive alien walker moving toward them. Its metal legs crushed everything in its path. The soldiers froze, unsure of how to stop it. Jonas signaled Claire. "We need to take that thing down, now." Claire nodded and ran to a pile of debris. She pulled out an old rocket launcher and aimed at the walker, and her hands shook, but her eyes were steady. Jonas provided cover fire as she fired. The rocket hit the walker's leg. Sparks flew, and the machine wobbled. Jonas charged forward, throwing grenades at its joints. The walker fell with a deafening crash, sending dust and debris into the air. Soldiers cheered. The humans had done the impossible again. Emily, exhausted but determined, spotted a group of alien stragglers heading toward a nearby building. She ran to intercept them, shouting orders to a few nearby soldiers. They trapped the aliens in a corner, leaving them no escape. Emily aimed her rifle and fired. The aliens fell back, then surrendered. Jonas approached her, clapping her on the shoulder. "Good work," he said. "You've saved a lot of lives today." The humans moved toward the alien stronghold. Inside, they knew the remaining forces were regrouping. They needed to end this fight before more soldiers were hurt. Inside the building, the aliens tried to organize one last attack. Setkar watched, frustration growing. "They should be gone," he muttered. "Why are they still standing?" The alien commander growled. "They are not ordinary. They fight for each other. That is what makes them strong. Cannot break them with weapons alone." Jonas led the team through the entrance. Aliens attacked from every side, but the humans were ready. Jonas ducked behind cover, firing at any alien that appeared. Claire covered his back, taking out targets with precision. Emily and a few others flanked the remaining aliens, cutting off escape routes. The fight was fierce. Humans fell, but they kept moving, refusing to surrender. Every soldier that went down was quickly replaced by another, inspired to fight harder. The aliens began to lose morale, unsure how to counter such determination. Finally, they reached the central chamber. The alien commander stood there, waiting. His eyes were cold, calculating, but Jonas could see doubt in them. "You fight with courage," the commander said, "but it will not save you." Jonas raised his rifle. "Maybe not," he said, "but it will make sure you cannot win." The humans advanced together, each step deliberate. Grenades, gunfire, and sheer force pushed the aliens back. One by one, they fell or surrendered. The chamber filled with smoke, dust, and the sounds of battle. Setkar watched helplessly as his forces crumbled. He realized the truth humans had already proven on the battlefield. Their strength was not in weapons or armor. Their strength was in unity, in courage, and in the willingness to fight for each other. The alien commander finally raised his hands. "Enough," he said. "We cannot continue. You have won." Jonas lowered his rifle, but kept his eyes on the enemy. "It is over," he said. "Leave or face the consequences." The remaining aliens retreated, disappearing into the ruined city. Humans stood among the rubble, breathing heavily, bloody but victorious. They had fought not just for survival, but for each other. Us. Every life saved, every comrade protected, had brought them this far. Jonas looked at his soldiers. "We did it," he said softly. "We survived. We won." Emily smiled despite the dust and blood on her face. "We fought together," she said, "and that made all the difference." The humans slowly gathered their wounded, checked their weapons, and looked around at the destroyed city. The battle was over, but the memory of it would remain forever. They had proven something no one could take away. Humans were not to be underestimated. Setkar turned from the screens, quiet and thoughtful. He finally understood that humans were dangerous, not because of their weapons or technology, but because they never gave up, because they fought for each other. And in that moment, the humans' victory was complete. The city was quiet now. Smoke still rose from burning buildings, but the fighting had stopped. The humans walked among the ruins, checking on each other, helping the wounded, and counting the survivors. They were tired, but their spirits were high. Jonas walked through the streets with Claire and Emily. He looked at the destroyed buildings and broken vehicles. "It looks worse than I thought," he said. "But we made it through." Claire nodded. "Yes, but we lost a lot of good soldiers. We need to be ready in case they return." Emily looked toward the horizon. "They will think twice before attacking again. They saw what we can do." Jonas led the group to a small building that had not been destroyed. It could be used as a temporary base. Soldiers gathered supplies and set up defensive positions. Even though the battle was over, everyone stayed alert. No one trusted the enemy completely. Meanwhile, far away, the alien commander reported the defeat to his superiors, spoke quietly, knowing he could not hide the truth. "We underestimated them. Humans fight for each other, not just for survival. That makes them dangerous." His superior's voice crackled over the line. "Then we must reconsider our plans. Do not underestimate them again." Back in the city, Jonas and the soldiers prepared for the future. They repaired what weapons they could, built barricades, and treated the injured. Every small task mattered. Survival depended on it. Emily joined Jonas by a small window. "Do you think they will come back?" she asked. Jonas shook his head slowly. "Maybe, but if they do, we will be ready." Today proved we can face anything together. Claire joined them. "We need to find more survivors from other parts of the city. There could be people hiding, scared, or injured. We cannot leave anyone behind." The team split into small groups, moving carefully through the ruined streets. They called out to anyone who might be alive. Some answered with weak voices. Others were too afraid to move. Each person rescued felt like a victory. As night fell, the humans gathered in the temporary base. They shared what little food they had, cleaned their weapons, and spoke quietly about the day's events. There was relief, but also sadness for those they had lost. Jonas stood at the center, looking at the faces around him. "We survived because we fought for each other," he said. "We stayed together when it counted. That is what makes us strong. That is why we won." Emily nodded. "We will need to rebuild, but we know we can face anything if we stay united." Claire added, "And we will." Not them, not anyone. Outside, the ruins of the city reflected the light of the setting sun. The streets were silent, but the humans' hearts were not. They had survived an enemy thought to be stronger, faster, and smarter. They had proven their courage and their will to protect each other. Jonas looked at the horizon, thinking about what was next. The aliens would learn from this defeat. They might come back, stronger and more prepared. But the humans would also grow stronger. Each battle taught them something new. Each victory gave them hope, and each loss reminded them of what mattered. "We did something today," she said softly, "something important. We showed them humans are not weak, that we fight for each other no matter what." Jonas nodded. "Yes, and that is just the beginning. We will rebuild, we will train, and we will be ready. Next time we will be even stronger." As the night grew darker, the humans rested where they could. Some slept, others kept watch, but all were aware that the fight had changed them. They had seen fear, danger, and death, but also courage, hope, and unity. The city was broken, but the people were not. They had faced impossible odds and survived. And now, as the stars appeared above, The humans knew one thing clearly. They would never back down. They would fight. They would protect each other. And they would win. The humans worked through the night. Fires burned low, and the city lay in ruins. But the soldiers moved carefully, repairing barricades and clearing rubble. Every broken street and damaged building was checked for hidden dangers or survivors. Jonas walked with Claire and Emily, examining the defensive positions. "We cannot stay in one place for too long," he said. "We need a plan if they attack again." Claire nodded. "Should set traps around the city. Can use what we find from the enemy's weapons and vehicles," Emily added. "And we need to train more people. Survivors who never fought before can learn quickly if we teach them. We need everyone ready." The group started organizing small teams. Each team had a leader and a clear task. Some repaired weapons and made new barricades. Others searched the ruins for supplies and hidden enemies. Every task was important. Jonas watched as a group of young humans carried heavy crates of supplies to a ruined building. "They are learning fast," he said quietly. "Fear made them strong today." Claire smiled. "Fear is only the start. Training and courage make them unstoppable." The humans found old factories, empty warehouses, and broken vehicles. They used metal sheets, pipes, and parts from alien machines to build stronger defenses. Walls were reinforced, hiding places were created, and alarms were set up using simple mechanisms. Even the children helped, carrying small supplies and learning to move quietly. At night, the humans gathered around small fires. They shared stories of the fight, of bravery and loss, and of hope. These moments reminded them why they were fighting. Every survivor had a reason to stay alive. Jonas and Emily stood on a rooftop, looking over the city. The ruins looked peaceful from above, but both knew danger could return at any moment. "Do you think they will come back soon?" Emily asked. Jonas shook his head slowly. "Maybe, but it doesn't matter when. We will be ready. Every day we train, every day we prepare, we become stronger." Claire joined them. "We also need scouts. People who can move quietly and watch for the enemy. We cannot fight what we cannot see." The next morning, small groups went out to scout the city's edges. They moved silently, checking for signs of the enemy. Sometimes they found alien devices left behind. Other times they found nothing, but the practice made them sharper, faster, and more alert. Jonas spent time teaching the humans tactics. He showed them how to move silently, how to communicate without words, and how to work together to protect each other. Every lesson increased their confidence. Every mistake taught them something new. One afternoon, a scout returned with news. "There is a large group coming from the north," he said. "I could see them moving slowly, but they are many." Jonas and the other leaders gathered quickly. "We expected this," Jonas said. "We have prepared. We will not run. We will fight for every street, every building, every person we can protect." Claire and Emily worked with the teams to finalize traps and positions. They checked weapons, moved supplies to safe places, and reminded everyone to stay alert. As the sun set, the humans took their positions. The city might be in ruins, but the defenders were ready. Walls were strengthened, scouts were in place, and teams were ready to respond to any attack. Jonas looked at the horizon, where the sky was red with the setting sun. "Tonight we show them that humans will not be broken. We fight for each other. We fight for survival. And we will win." Emily squeezed his hand. "We will. They cannot take what we have built. They cannot break what we have become." The city grew dark, but the humans' determination shone brighter than any fire. They had learned from their losses, and they had prepared for the future. When the enemy returned, they would face not just survivors, but warriors. The night was quiet, but the humans knew it would not last. They slept in shifts, watched every street, and listened for any sound. They were ready. The fight was far from over. But the humans had a new power unity, courage, and knowledge. They would face the coming storm together, and when it came, they would strike back with everything they had. The night was tense. Every human was in position, every weapon ready. Jonas, Claire, and Emily moved quietly between the teams, checking traps and listening for any sign of movement. From the north, a shadow appeared on the horizon. The enemy was coming, just as the scouts had reported. The humans held their ground, hearts pounding, but faces calm. Jonas whispered, "Remember what we learned. Stay together, move smart, and protect each other." The first wave came quickly. Strange machines rolled forward, and alien soldiers ran across the open streets. The humans waited until they were close. Then, with a single signal, the traps were triggered. Metal bars fell, pits opened, and ropes swung across streets. Several enemy machines crashed or got stuck. The humans attacked from their hidden positions, throwing weapons, using fire, and moving fast. Claire led a group through a side street. They flanked the enemy, hitting them from the sides where they least expected. Emily directed another group, setting small fires that blocked the enemy's path and caused confusion. Jonas fought in the center, defending the main street. He moved quickly, helping anyone in danger, and directing the humans to take advantage of the traps and obstacles. Every attack was planned, every step measured. The enemy was strong, but the humans had learned. They worked as one, covering each other and using their knowledge of the city. Every time the aliens tried to advance, they were stopped. Hours passed. The fight was intense, but the humans never gave up. Even when tired, they pushed forward. They remembered the people they were protecting and the home they were defending. Emily shouted, "Push them back! Do not let them regroup!" The humans pressed forward, slowly forcing the enemy into traps and ambushes. One by one, alien machines fell. Soldiers tried to flee but were met by humans hidden in the ruined buildings. Claire shouted, "Now, take them!" With one final push, the humans overwhelmed the enemy. The machines were destroyed, and the remaining soldiers surrendered. Silence fell over the streets. The humans were exhausted, but victorious. Jonas looked around at the city. The streets were damaged, but the humans had survived. They had fought with courage, intelligence, and unity. Every person who had stood and fought had made a difference. Emily hugged Claire. "We did it. We really did it." Claire smiled, looking at the survivors gathering in the streets. "This is just the beginning. We can rebuild and make our home stronger than before." Jonas walked through the city, checking on his people. Children and adults all had played a part in the victory. They had faced fear and danger, and now they were stronger. The sun rose over the city, painting the ruins in gold. The humans stood together, proud and unbroken. The enemy had come, expecting to conquer. Instead, they found warriors who refused to give up. Jonas spoke to the gathered humans. "We survived because we fought as one. We protected each other. We learned, we trained, and we never gave up. This city is ours, and we will make it safe again." The humans cheered, their voices echoing through the empty streets. They had faced death and danger, but they had found hope and courage. Emily looked at Jonas. "We saved them. We saved ourselves." Jonas nodded. "Yes, and we will continue to protect what we have built." Together, the city began to stir. People repaired what was broken, cleaned the streets, and helped each other. The humans had faced the storm and had won. Their courage, preparation, and unity had made the difference. As the sun climbed higher, the humans looked toward the future. They were ready for anything that came next. No enemy could break them because they had learned the greatest strength: trust, teamwork, and courage. The city, once broken and scared, was alive again. And the humans, who had faced almost certain defeat, now stood as protectors, warriors, and survivors. They had fought for their lives and they had won. The fight was over, but the story of their courage would live forever.